Something's different. Where's my hat?
Where's my antlers? Where's the pearls? Hello, adventurers, and welcome back to the AfterLARP podcast.
Yes, it is the podcast that takes place after LARP because we have literally just got back from LARPing. Where have we been?
We've not been at Menhirs.
We've not.
We've not been in Haven.
We went somewhere else.
I know, it feels illegal, doesn't it?
It does feel, it feels odd. It feels like, it very much feels strange, and we'll talk about that. But yes, we went to Empire's second event of the year, which was the spring summit of Empire at the new Steeplechase
LARP Centre. Or LRP Centre, because they're allergic to the A, apparently.
The A needs to go back. We spent the weekend down there, and so we figured it's not just a Menhirs podcast, it is a LARP podcast, and we want to talk about everything.
We're the After LARP podcast, not the After Menhirs Fate podcast.
Exactly. So I think there's nothing more to do than introduce ourselves properly. My name is Stephen, but I am not the Sweetsmith.
And I'm Ella, and I'm not the Songbird.
So, who are we? So who are you? Tell me about yourself.
So for this event, I was playing Kai Kettersdottir, a Wintermark Calavesa born, somewhat confused archer living in the woods.
Yep.
And who are you?
Yep. And I was Alfred 2 Feet, who is a Wintermark, a Steiner Wintermarker, who is a little bit more kind of put together, but very stupid. He was a mage, this autumn mage, and was part of the 2 Feet family who also go over into Navarre. The reason we returned to Empire was after a discussion and a message from our wonderful friend Steve, also known as Hefty Yeti. His profiles and things are down below. Go and check him out. He does so many brilliant things for LARP, and he's done a lot of brilliant things for us as well.
See the entirety of last year.
Yes, yeah, a good chunk of last year, including these podcasts, probably wouldn't have happened without him. So yes, and he is Cal of the 2 Feet, and we joined his, so he was my uncle in this, and then I had another uncle over in Navarre who was a very silly boy.
We barely saw, but boy, when we saw him,
you didn't forget him.
He was memorable.
You don't forget him. And yes, and we also kind of, when we came up with the concepts, we had a little kind of base concept about...
Yeah. So I was doing a little bit of research. I was doing a little bit of research on Wintermark traditions, and they have a lot of things about animals, especially like birds, across the 3 different traditions. And so I had the concept of going in as the fox and the jay, because the fox is like cunning and the jay means vigilance. That then got changed to...
the fox and the robin. And the reason I kind of changed to robin is because I have that red gambeson that you might have seen in some pictures previously. However, I didn't wear it at all the entire weekend.
In fact, we almost kind of dubbed someone else in our hall the Robin.
Yeah, they became the Robin.
She borrowed it for the big fight, and she has this lovely bird mask.
Yeah.
So they became the Robin.
Yeah, and it worked.
Yeah, it worked. It was good.
So yes, what was your kind? So you were an archer.
I was an archer. I also had some levels in Autumn Law, and I had a few spells to my name as well. So I was kind of like part archer, part magician. But the only thing I ended up using was Night Pouch.
Yes, and I was a mage, a magician slash autumn mage, or whatever they're called. And again, I didn't really use much in the way of my autumn magic, but I did use my battle magic quite a little.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, so those were our characters. We went in with a very basic, this is we're testing the waters. So to speak.
Yeah, and this is not our first time at Empire. We have played a few events prior, a couple of years ago. It was actually the first LARP we ever went to, where we played in Dawn, which might come up a little bit later. So we kind of knew what we were getting ourselves into. So for me especially, I didn't want to go in with all these grand plans or any sort of key like role play elements, because I knew the kind of game that I was signing myself up for. So I ended up not doing much role play or being in character, especially compared to something like Menhirs. But you had a few roleplay pointers that you had for yourself, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah. I kind of in the weeks coming up to it, I was thinking, what should my character be? You know, who they are. Just small things, and my kind of ultimate idea was they are an idiot, or they're just, you know, very innocently stupid, except for magic, where they're surprisingly good at it, but they still don't quite understand it.
Yes.
So my spell, you know, I had all my rituals written down on literally 3 scraps of paper that Ella gave me. None of them really made much of much sense. And I kind of think like that was his kind of thing, and that helped me just be a little bit, you know, basic and easy to get onto, rather than come in with these grand, lofty ideas. So, Empire is a festival LARP. It is the largest festival LARP in the country. It has, at any one time, 4,000 to 5,000 players. 4,000 to 5,000 players.
Yeah, not 45,000.
Yeah, that's too many. I would say 4,000 to 5,000 is too many. The summits are a war council.
Yes.
So the Empire is at war with everyone who is not the Empire. Essentially, there are some peace treaties and designated foreigners, and they are at war, trying to claim territory and spread their religion, and essentially, you know, spread the Empire as far and wide as possible.
There's a fun sort of saying amongst Empire players of, yeah, we're the bad guys.
Yes.
So that is worth keeping in mind when we talk about Empire, when people talk about going to Empire. You're fundamentally not great people. In the context of the Empire, you might be a lovely person, you might be a very good person, but in the grand scheme of things, you do need to keep that in mind.
Yes, the Empire is not a force for good.
No. It's a very large game. It is fundamentally PvP, so player versus player. There are big PvE battles. There is a big battle on Saturday morning and a big battle on Sunday morning, and depending on which nation you are playing in, depends on which battle you end up playing and which one you do monstering for.
Yep, so you'll monster one battle and then you'll fight in another battle.
It's a very political game,
yes,
I think, is what doesn't always come across.
It's very akin to, the best way of describing it is it has a lot of kind of that Game of Thrones-esque political undertones while the war's going on.
Yes, and players at Anvil, they love having meetings. They love talking.
Yep.
If you spend any amount of time in Anvil, you will realise that people have meetings about having meetings.
Yes.
So what did we get up to this weekend?
Yeah, what did we get up to?
Well,
should we start talking about our Thursday?
Yeah. So normally, we go up to LARP on a Thursday, because you can camp overnight on the Thursday for a small extra fee. You get set up ahead of the game. It means your Friday is nice and chilled, and you don't have to worry about setting up tents or anything like 5 minutes to time in. We didn't do that this time.
No, we didn't.
Because Thursday's weather was abysmal.
Yeah. It was so bad that the Empire traffic team, the actual staff, closed the field.
Yeah.
And said no one on the field because it's just going to turn into a slushy mess.
Which was the right decision.
Yes, 100%.
Because even when we got there on Friday, the ground was still quite damp.
Yeah.
And we did have to push a car out of a mud pile.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong though, the drainage of that site, fantastic, because by Friday evening and well into Saturday morning, there was no...
Bone dry.
Bit squeegee on the ground.
Yeah.
That's what mud's like.
Yeah.
But yeah, it did drain very quickly, which was nice.
It is a good site. They've only been at this site, this is their second event at this site.
Yeah. It's also huge.
Massive. It's a good 5-minute walk, at least, from one side of the in-character camp to the other side of the in-character camp.
Yeah, we turned up, we went, we set up our camp. We were camping OC this time, but our IC camp was right by the entrance to the OC camp.
It was literally on the border,
so
which
we didn't
was
really have to go very far to get to our camp and have a good time. We went and saw Steve, we saw Helen, saw lovely people, and just after that we did the tour.
Yeah, we got taken on a little tour, walking tour around Anvil. Not much to say, really. We did another tour in character later that evening. It was very whirlwind, like, here's the hub, here's the Senate, here's the Sentinel Gate, that sort of thing. I think, interestingly, with their previous site, Dadford Road, which is obviously where Menhirs is now, it had a lot more, Dadford had a lot more delineation between nations. Yes. Yeah, it sort of blended a little better. Yeah, I had no idea where I was at any one time. I was like, is this Urzen? Is this Varushka? Is this Navarre? Yes, I mean, Navarre was in a wood at Dadford, which is wonderful, and they just haven't had time to grow the infrastructure for a wood, and probably won't for several years. But I think it does need a little bit of a signpost. The only two camps, actually, that did good at telling you when you were entering their camp were Dawn and the Imperial Ox. Yes. Dawn had a sign, and to be honest, Dawn are very obvious because they like to cover things in flowers and bright colours. And the Imperial Orcs had literally sectioned off their little camp. And they had incredible set dressing. Some of the best set dressing I've seen. It was outstanding. It was so good. Really nice, really nice. And a lovely tea shop. A lovely tea shop. So we went shopping. Yeah, we went shopping. What did we get? We got a lot of things for me. Yep. And things for you. Yes. Most of what is behind us was bought on site. Yep. Except the bow. Except the bow. But yeah, the arrows, the quiver, my rod, because I needed a focus to cast magic with. My tunic I got. We just spent a significant amount of money. And another one of the reasons we went to Empire was for the shopping, because the traders at Menhirs are fantastic. Love the traders. However, the traders at Empire are so much better established. There are companies that go there consistently that have only ever been to one or two Menhirs events. Yes, and there are traders there that have never been to Menhirs events. And I'll be honest, I just wanted to do some window shopping of pretty things. And purchasing of some pretty things. And purchasing of some pretty things, yes. So we went out, we grabbed a lot of things, we grabbed some food. A lot more food vendors as well, not just three. And they had the toasty van, they had the coffee van. That's all I want in life. Yeah, there needs to be more food vendors at Menhirs because Empire shows up. I know Empire has 4,000 people, but they have more than 3 times the amount of food vendors and options. So it does need to be increased. It does. I think that is one of the key things that Empire has, and I know it's more established, but Empire will always have over Menhirs. Is the outside OC infrastructure is so much better, significantly so better. Good. But we went for a wander. We saw lots of our friends from Menhirs. It was lovely seeing so many familiar faces. And we saw familiar faces throughout the weekend, which was really lovely. It's just nice, kind of occasionally like bumping into someone, going, oh, it's you, but it's not you. Not you. I don't recognize you. Who are you? The same nation as me. But yeah, I think kind of coming into our discussion earlier that you didn't feel as icy the entire time at Empire. That tended to be whenever we saw people from Menhirs, we would just start chatting about Menhirs. Or not just about Menhirs, but we would just drop character for a little bit. Like that. It's not as I feel like the RP is not as heavy. As full on. There's less of a, because the game is so big. There's less of an expectation to be in character the entire time. Which means there's less of a culture of being in character the entire time. And even within our camp, I'd say we were in character about 30% of the time. Most of the time we were just hanging out and having a good time with our friends. Just chatting. And so then Friday, we kind of then went and got ourselves ready and and then the game started. And what's worth noting for Empire is we basically did not leave each other's sides this event, which is very different to Menhirs, because obviously in Menhirs we play in 2 different nations. I see Ella for about 8 minutes. It's a little longer than that now that we're camping, I see. Yes, but 10 minutes. Yeah, a whole 10 minutes of an entire event. Hopefully that might change, because they might do some Commonwealth-linked plot. But we shall see. But yeah, so we were just together the entire time, and
we started with kind of setting up, kind of establishing what we wanted to do, or what our kind of thoughts were.
We didn't go to the Wintermark moot.
No.
Which, looking back, I kind of wish we had.
Yeah.
But then again, it did last over half an hour.
Yeah.
And I would have gotten bored.
Yeah.
Because talking happens a lot.
Yeah, and everyone wants to say their little piece and say, oh, you need to do this. And I think for some of those kind of plot-related things, which are really important, where they say, like, oh, please go and vote for this specific thing, because if you vote for this specific thing will happen, which is good for us. Whereas in other points, it's just like, I want to talk about myself because I'm
the most important thing to me.
Yeah. And then we went for a little walk. We went to the Imperial Orcs.
We went to the Imperial Orcs.
Tea.
We went and had tea, and I had a very lovely salted caramel rocky road,
yes,
which was very good.
Very nice tea house there.
Very lovely. I played a dice game with one of the orcs.
Yes.
And I won.
Yep.
Which was very fun.
I will say they are the most welcoming nation.
They are so lovely.
If you go in there, you feel like you feel like you're just part of the group and part of the family, like, you know.
Unless you're Dornish. They don't like the Dornish for some reason.
Most of I think most of the field don't like the Dornish. But yes, and then as we were sat at the tea house, someone from, I think it was the League. Yeah, someone from the League came over and said, we need people for a skirmish at 8:30. Does anyone want to sign up? And we, not really caring about our characters' lives and deaths and only being alive for 2 hours so far.
We went, sure.
Yeah, absolutely, we'll do that.
At this point, it's worth noting that the lovely bow that I had behind me did not pass weapons check.
No.
So for this event, most of this event, I was playing an archer without a bow.
Yeah. It didn't pass weapons yet because one of the limbs is twisted.
Yeah.
We are going to get that sorted,
easy
and
fix.
we're going to get it. We're going to contact the company and get a refund or whatever we need to do.
It's unfortunate. It's fixable.
Yeah.
So we went into this skirmish. We were in Spiral, specifically on the Black Plateau, and we were fighting Grendel and also lobster monsters.
Yes. So just for those of you who have not been to Empire, we were on the Black Plateau. Is a place in one of the territories that is super cursed and nasty. And then we were fighting Grendel, which are a type of orc, because this has orcs and humans, and the orcs are generally the bad guys, and that is where we come into some of the slightly less savoury elements of the field, where there is a distinct xenophobic nature to the Empire. The
orcs are bad unless there are orcs, and then we like them.
Yes.
And none of the enemy factions are solely human.
Yes.
So far.
Yeah. And lobster monsters are lobster monsters. I think
they were terrifying. Yeah. This skirmish did not go well for us.
No.
About half the time we spent in that skirmish field, we were fighting, and the other half we were bartering with the Grendel to get our dying back.
You know, it was a little bit of a fight.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was just a bit of a shit show.
And I think skirmishes generally in Empire have this kind of history and rumour and whispers about them that they're all incredibly deadly and dangerous and things like that. And this one was, absolutely.
It was, yeah.
And, you know, it could have gone horribly wrong. I just wanted to try it out, to be honest. I was just like, yeah, we'll give it a go.
We'd been on one skirmish before we stopped playing at Empire, but that was a specifically no combat skirmish.
Yes.
For specific Dornish reasons.
Yes.
So it wasn't really the same.
Yeah, it's nice to get into a smaller kind of scrappy fight. Very similar to the Menhir's incursion type things when they go off.
Yeah.
But yes, so we did that. We came back from that, and then didn't really do a whole lot more.
No, I think we got food and we sat at camp and we chatted and then we went to bed.
Yeah.
Which was weird. We got back to the tent and we kind of sat there and went, huh, we've not done much yet.
Yeah.
And that would change. But it was very high contrast to what we're used to at LARP at this point.
Yeah. I think I wrote it down, and I think it kind of hits a thing that hits nail on the head, is that Empire feels so full but so empty at the same time.
There are so many people in that field, but there's not a huge amount going on.
Yeah.
Unless those things going on are discussions or meetings.
Or player-led. Little fights.
Fun things.
And, you know, like little tournaments. Because there was a little tournament on Saturday we watched for a little bit. And, yeah.
So yeah, that was Friday. Saturday, we were fighting.
Yes, Saturday it was, Wintermark was going off for their battle. So essentially the morning was waking up, having some breakfast, getting a coffee for you, and then getting ourselves kitted up. We managed to borrow a longbow from a house in hall in Wintermark.
They were so lovely.
Thank you so much for that. Interestingly, though, you pointed out that the way that longbow was strung would have much more likely to slip the string
than my
yours,
unsafe bow.
which is why they failed at saying, oh, the string could slip.
Yeah.
So just and when you had your bow checked on the Saturday, it was not properly checked, really.
No, it wasn't.
So I think there was. It very much sometimes depends on who checks your weapons as to whether or not it might pass.
That's going to happen, you know.
Yeah.
Especially with a game as big as Empire.
Yeah. But yes, so we did the battle.
We were fighting against the Druge, which are another faction of orcs.
Yep.
A faction of orcs that are kind of on the back foot now. They were a big
I believe they're losing
issue.
the war.
Yes, they were a big issue when we were last playing. They were a big enemy of Dawn.
Yes.
And now they seem to be slightly less of a problem.
Yep. And potentially not a problem at all by the end of the year. We shall see. So we went into the fight and we were kind of with our little group of 4 and then another small hall of like fighters.
Yes, yeah.
I had the ability to shatter weapons and a load of potions that gave me my mana back. So I was just...
You're a bit of a powerhouse.
I was running around going willy-nilly on any large spear, anything large and like pointy, I would just shatter it. And then hear the very upset call from the orcs and things when their weapon got shattered. They had to just turn around and go back because they forgot to bring a sword or anything like that. Whereas conversely, when I monstered and I had my rod, I also had my swords. And at one point, I even took your sword on. On Saturday because your weapons were just getting in the way of you being able to fire your bow.
I had the longbow and I also had my sword and my dagger, and the sword and the dagger kept catching on the longbow because it was taller than me whilst strung.
Yep.
And my God, it was so fun.
Yep.
It was I've had the best time fighting at Empire than I've had in any other LARP fight.
Yep.
And that is purely because of the archery.
Yeah.
I think I might be addicted.
Yeah. I think you're now an archer, aren't you?
I think I'm now an archer.
That's okay. And yeah, so like it took you like a few shots to kind of get the feel of the bow, and I know that when we start using, this one once it's untwisted, it will take you a few shots and practices.
Yeah.
But we can practice in the day. And, and then it was just very fun to watch you have as many shots off as you could.
And what's fun about Empire is you're not restricted to just your arrows. If you find an arrow on the floor and you give it a safety check and you deem that it's safe to fire, you can add that to your quiver and you can fire that back.
Yep.
So
return to sender.
I never ran out of arrows.
Yep.
And also players are lovely when you're an archer because they will come running up to you with an arrow and go, hey, I have something for you, or hey, I'm going to hold on to this for you whilst you fire that arrow and then you can have this one.
Yep.
And that was really lovely.
That's because both the things we chose, archery and mage, are quite overpowered.
Yeah, they are. So archery at Empire automatically does impale, which is a call that I think ruins limbs, and if it hits you in the chest, you go down to 0.
Yeah. If you're not wearing heavy armor, that's so anything medium, light, or no armor, you get hit in the arm, you can't use that arm. You get hit in the leg, you can't use that leg, so you fall on the floor. You can't hop, you're not allowed to hop.
Nope.
Because that's a dangerous thing. And if you get hit in the chest, you die. Or you're
down to your bleed count.
And go,
And yeah, I got a few good shots
You got
off.
some very good shots
and
off.
then I kneecapped a healer.
As they were healing.
As they were healing. And there is a great photo of me on Krios Photography's website of me just laughing my head off at the fact that I'd kneecapped a healer accidentally.
Yeah. It was very, very fun to just play off of that. It was a good fight, and it was...
Yeah, it was fun.
I will say, it slightly outstayed its welcome because we got to a point where we just kept fighting the same people. It was a kind of... There were objectives to every fight, and one of the objectives was get a banner, which our friend Steve just walked over and took the banner.
And then just walked around with it for the rest of the fight.
He just held it for the rest of the fight. And then there was, I think, we had to essentially do 5 rituals on stones and then hold the stones for... stop anyone coming near them for the battle. So we were kind of always moving throughout the stones and kind of moving back and forth. And then they were sending like kind of little skirmishy groups over to us. But because we had a lot more, you know, regimented armies and stuff, it was easy to just go no and just kind of
we don't think that the 2 groups that they'd split up, we don't think that they were entirely well balanced this weekend.
Yeah, I'm not sure they were.
So that meant that our fight, I think, was slightly easier, and the fight on Sunday was slightly harder.
Yeah.
But that's what happens when you try and split a field in 2 using nations that aren't necessarily equal weighting.
Yeah. And again, that comes back to that things that we'd heard, the rumours and stuff going, oh, well, you know, this nation, you know, these battles are supposedly really deadly and really hard and all that. And then we kind of just walked over it and I was like, oh, okay, is it?
Yeah. No, the big battles at Empire are only deadly if it goes really badly. Yeah. It's the skirmishes that kill more people. Yeah.
I also think maybe the battles are slightly easy because they're just taking place on one...
What was nice about this new site is that the battlefield was just one big field, whereas at Dadford Road they had a big field and they also had a forest that you would fight in. And it meant that every time I fought a big Empire battle at Dadford Road, they'd be like, oh, we have these cool monsters, or we have dragons, or we have lobsters, and you'd never see them because they'd inevitably be in the part of the field that you weren't in. Whereas this time, you saw everything. Even if you weren't involved, you would see the monsters. And I think that was really nice and really fun and made it feel a lot more engaging. To be like, oh, I'm not necessarily with this big monster, but it's there and I can see it.
Yeah, and I think it's... And I know that there are old stories of like, oh, well, one group goes into the woods and then they all get massacred because there's no one in the woods protecting them.
And
whereas now we're on a big open field and we can see that if I were to turn around and see the League, for example, getting steamrolled over, well, we could probably turn around and at least go and try and help them. Rather than get ourselves kind of all pinch-pointed and separated, and that's probably where a lot of the deaths happen. So
it's
maybe it is a bit easier.
A lot safer because you're not going to get crushed in a bottleneck getting in or out of the woods.
Yeah. Crushes happen a fair amount. But yeah, I think that's kind of our Saturday battle. We won, from my understanding. At least I think it was a victory. I think it was a total victory. I think the final objective was just to kill everything on the field.
Which we were very good at.
I think there was a couple of deaths in Wintermark, but nothing.
Yeah, it wasn't. There were no massacres from what I could tell.
And then the rest of the Saturday, because the battle is the morning. And you kind of get back by about 1. And then
at the latest.
You might want to probably change your kit, or, I mean, if it was muddy or anything like that, you'd probably want to go and have a shower and stuff. So then you kind of maybe get back into the game at 2-ish, maybe, after some food as well. So after food, what did we do? We kind of just wandered again, didn't we?
We wandered. We went and saw some friends. We went over to Dawn.
Yeah, we went over to Dawn because we wanted to go and see the one of our friends do the KP of spring tournament.
Night Protector.
And he was... we went in, couldn't see him in the fight, and then saw him over on the side with a medic. And he'd been injured. OC, it
Which
seems
wasn't great.
there were quite a few injuries from that fight, and quite a few injuries from other Dornish tourneys, from what I've heard.
Yeah. It's not fun. Don't injure people out of character because you've gotten too in character about it.
Don't get too excited.
Be sensible.
Yeah.
Don't be a dick.
Yeah. I think, remember, that is a person. Not a character, a person. Who has, you know, limbs and things, and probably a job they need to do.
Yep. Because it kind of messed up our friend's entire weekend.
Yeah.
Because he had a lot more fighting that he wanted to do. Dawn were fighting on the Sunday, which he couldn't do. There was another tournament that later that evening that he wanted to do, and he couldn't do any of it.
Apparently, he was winning the tournament. He was winning in that he was doing quite well, and then just suddenly got injured, and that's a bit rubbish. And so, you know, obviously we at that point, we dropped character. We went and got him back to his camp. Saw another one of our friends. We hadn't seen since we were last at Empire. Had a good chat with them, catch up, and then kind of left Dawn relatively sour taste in our mouths.
Yeah, which is a shame because again we used to be Dornish players, and it's now not the most fun place to be.
No.
There's a lot of politics going on in Dawn, and not all of it seems to be in character.
Yes.
And I think I'll leave it at that because I don't know enough to say anything else.
I think as well, like we left Dawn for a very specific reason. That was entirely about decisions that Dawn had made that we didn't agree with OC.
Yeah.
And that's why we left the game as a whole for 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yes, and then what else did we do?
I can't really
just bimbled
remember.
about
Yeah, we
until
bimbled
the,
about. We got some food. We
Yeah.
wandered, and then there was a big thing for Dawn.
Yes, which was the only big thing for Dawn as well.
The only plot that they'd been given by the team for this event was there is a title in Dawn called the Queen of Dawn or the Monarch of Dawn, which is very heavily entrenched in Dornish traditions and Dornish culture. And traditionally, the person who is playing the emperor or the empress will take this title, and it's a big tournament. They can either choose a champion or they can fight for it themselves. And they usually get this title and then they keep it as emperor. There was a manticore.
Yes, big monster.
Living in Dawn, claimed himself to be an earl and wanted to be Queen of Dawn.
Yeah.
So there was going to be this big tournament between the current empress and the manticore and their armies.
And also another faction of Dawn that didn't want either of them to be
Yes, which was player-led.
Yes.
And apparently PD went, yeah, that's fine. You can do that.
Yeah.
That's fun. This tournament was not fun. And every Dornish player that's our friend that we've talked to post-event has gone, yeah, that wasn't fun.
Yeah. So it was at the arena, which is kind of this space on the site where there's a little kind of grandstand and there's a sand pit. And the sand pit is, you know, maybe 10 meters by 5 meters. And we get there, and then about 100 Dornish fighters turn up, and then we get pushed back a little bit.
Yep.
And then we get pushed back again, and then we get pushed back again.
Because then the other Dornish army turns up.
Yeah.
And they're just as big.
Yeah. And we got pushed back about 6 times, and it was meant to start at 8:30. Okay, so half past 8.
Half past eight.
And we're there from about 8:15.
Yeah, we head down early because we heard commotions, and I wanted to see this as an ex-Dornish person.
Yeah.
And also I was expecting it to be like just a fun fight.
Yeah. And then we get there, and we are just doing that classic, and it's a problem with all LARPs. It's a problem with Menhirs. We're doing hurry up and wait again. And hurry up and wait is really boring.
Yep.
Especially when it's been 24 degrees pitch sunlight all day, and there's no shade on that field.
Nope.
And everyone's exhausted. Everyone's grumpy.
You
quite
try
a
and
few
sit
people are
down.
drunk. You try and sit down, and then they immediately say, no, stand up and move back 30 meters, 30 feet. And it's like, at this point, I might as well go and sit in my camp, because that's where the line is going to be.
Yeah.
And then the a group of, thankfully, you know, my icy uncle turns up.
Yeah, your Navari uncle.
Hammered drunk.
Also on a lot of in-character drugs.
Yeah, on a lot of in-character drugs, and goes for a and we all start heckling.
Yeah.
Because we're bored and not Dornish.
And that was the most fun I had at this tournament, was listening to their drug-fueled heckles and chants and singing along.
Yep, and then the Manticore arrives, and he's only got about 30 people with him. Mm-hmm. So we all automatically go, well, he's only got 30 people, and there's about 200 on the other side. So this is going to last about 6 seconds, and then they're just going to start fighting each other.
And people aren't going to care because they don't care about Dornish politics.
And so we're like, oh, okay, but at least the Manticore's here now. Now the fight can start. And then they decide to go over to the grandstand and make speeches for about 20 minutes while no one in the grandstand can hear it, from what I've been told.
We couldn't hear it because
we're on the other
they
side
were
of the
facing
field.
away from us.
No one in the grandstand seemed to care.
Nope.
So it was very much people pontificating for the sake of their own voice.
Yeah.
We're here for a fight, get on with it.
Yeah. And when the fight started...
Exactly what we said.
It was entertaining to a point.
Yep.
Our friends on the other side in the grandstand, who had gotten there way early to get good seats, had a terrible view.
Yep.
And it just turned into a mass of people.
Yep. And I believe there were, again, a few OC injuries from that because people took it too far. And again, I'm not saying that those are intentional, those are malicious. I'm saying they are careless and without thinking, because you're having too much fun and you're not thinking about the fact that you're fighting safely.
Yeah.
Yep, so the Manticore gets killed fairly quickly, and then it just turns into two Dornish sides fighting Dornish sides fighting each other, which is about as interesting as watching paint dry.
Yeah. To the point where the Navari group that were heckling left.
Yep. Because maybe I'm sure it was really fun on the inside of that fight.
Yeah.
But also, you're all Dornish and you all look the same. How am I meant to see which side is which? It's not like you're all going, okay, well, we're going to wear the red tabards because we're the want to stay in Dorne, and then you're going to wear the green tabards because Vesna has a green hat. That's the only thing I know about them, is they have a green hat.
And they're Varushkan.
And they're Varushkan, yes. And then at least you can have a little bit of, oh yes, look, oh yeah, no, the Greens are definitely winning. The Reds are definitely losing. Oh, the Reds are making a comeback. It's just Dornish people fighting each other.
It was very difficult to tell who was who. It was very difficult to tell which side was winning. To the point where
which side was which side.
Yeah, and we just walked away.
Yeah, we just walked away. And we went to we caught the tail end of a lovely Brass Coast funeral, which was great.
It was, yeah.
We met a wonderful freeborn. He was just genuinely probably the loveliest, most happy person on the field. Just a ray of sunshine. So thank you for that. Good game. It just made us smile.
Yeah.
And apparently he lost his character last event, so this was his funeral/wake.
Yeah.
But yeah, that tournament was just dull.
It was supposed to be this really big, exciting thing for Dawn, and from the sounds of it, for all involved, it just fell a bit flat. Maybe the people who were fighting had a great time, but everyone who was there to watch didn't have a good time.
Yeah. I think what should have happened is they should have said, oh my goodness, there's so many people here. Either there's 200 Dornish fighters here. Right, okay. And only 30 for the Manticore. If we want this to be an even fight, right, 50 of you and 50 of you, off you go. Or said, oh no, the Manticore has been waylaid. Everyone needs to go and do this on the battlefield.
Where they would have had enough space. And
they could have sent the refs out to just fully get a nice, easy pitch, or say, oh, the Manticore's been waylaid. It's going to happen next event on the battlefield because we cannot.
It wasn't safe. They had to move the audience several times.
And some of those members of the audience were in their 80s and having to stand up and move back, and and
On her birthday.
On her birthday as well. Yeah, so I think it a bit of a damp squib.
Yeah. Like I said, it's just a shame for the people who are really invested in it.
Yeah.
Especially when that was the only big bit of plot that nation was given. Which makes sense as to why so many people turned up.
Yeah.
Because it was the only thing they had going for them.
But I guess, if you're Dornish and you're watching this and you have other opinions or thoughts, pop them in the comments and let us know if you liked the fight or if you were in the fight. Tell us your perspective of being in the fight. Was it just a massive cluster smash up? Did you accidentally hit someone on your side? Because I feel like that would happen. But yeah, it was just that. And then after that,
we just sort of chilled.
Yeah, chilled. We went back.
Yeah. We sorted out things for an Ephesus box, which was a ritual where you could trade with an Eternal of the Autumn Realm. They're essentially like, they're gods, but they're not gods. And the Autumn Realm of magic is all about trade and business and all that juicy stuff. So we got that sorted out. And then people in our group took a lot of drugs.
Yep.
In character. And that was our night, basically.
We did something called Goose Whisper.
Where you get a vision, and apparently if you then do a Liao vision and the two things are linked, then that's plot that you have. I wanted to do it because I'd never done it, and I'd been around people who had been organising it when I was in Dawn, and I was like, I've not done this, I really want to do this for the sake of having done it. It's a bit underwhelming.
Yeah. And then, when you're in Dawn, you'd say, oh yeah, I'd like to do that, and then they'd say, okay, great, we'll tell you when it is, and then you'd come back about an hour or hours later, and they've already done it.
Yeah, I think that situation was like they were planning to do it, and I said, oh, I'd love to get involved with that. Didn't see them for the rest of the night, and the next morning they were talking about it, and it was like, oh, okay, so you've just done it and not included me in that.
Yeah, and that was it.
That was it. Yeah, we went to bed. Sunday we were monstering.
Yep.
We were monstering as the Grendel, so the faction that we fought on Friday evening.
So purples, orcs. Neither of us wore masks.
No.
I couldn't get my glasses through the mask, and I can't see without them. So I was a human, and you weren't.
I tried to wear the mask. I don't know if it was just the one they gave me, or if my sensitivities have changed since the last time I wore an orc mask, but I couldn't see, and I felt very claustrophobic in it.
Yeah.
And I ended up almost having a panic attack, so I took it off and was just a human thrall, which actually helped me later in the fight, which we'll get onto in a little bit.
Yep. And I was a mage. I could do paralyze, and I could do a repel.
And because I didn't have a bow, I just had sword and buckler, which is my go-to
easy monster fighting stuff.
Yeah, it's also what I tend to use as Saphira.
Yeah. Yep. So we went there. Again, a lot of hurry up and wait. And I think So when we went onto the field to get ourselves ready, we were on the field and all that, and then got told, oh, the field is live. It's there, and we're still moving on to the field.
Yeah, we didn't have enough time to get our forces all the way around the field, and I think the way they wanted to, before the Imperial forces started coming onto the field, which didn't feel great.
Yeah, minor logistical thing that needed to just be ironed out.
Yeah. But it also could have been intentional because they knew that we had slightly more numbers on our side than they did on theirs.
Yeah, possibly.
We were also told that they needed to do a massive
summer ritual
at a very specific place on the field.
In a fort.
And our objective was to basically stop them from getting there and doing this ritual.
Yeah.
Apparently they succeeded, but the entire time we were on the field, they did not get to that fort.
So I'm not entirely sure how much of a success, but or maybe the rules changed that because they did not get into that fort. Hey ho, I'm not going to argue with it, but yeah, our objective was just to stop them and annoy them and fight them.
Yeah, which I think we did a very good job of.
We had a lovely Grendel commander.
Yeah, Duckling was great.
Yeah, they were really fun. They got us all involved, and I charged into a few like squishy healers with them, and then I paralysed one and just kept because you have to stand there for 10 seconds, and if I can just hit them, you get 1 hit per second. So I just went 1, 2, 3, 4, and then they went down. Job done. I was killed by that time anyway.
We also had a land shark on our side of this event, and there was an entire platoon of big spiky boys protecting this land shark. We didn't get to see it in action, but it was a really cool costume set piece. If you've seen photos of war rhinos,
it's that.
You've basically seen a land shark. It just had some purple fabrics thrown over it.
I mean, the fight kind of continued. We went down. We did a respawn. And
I had a very fun moment where I went down in a charge where you guys just ran straight through the fort. I went down, didn't know that you guys had gone, so I was there counting, and an Imperial came over, and a Dornish mage healed me, and I went, oh, sat up, thank you very much. Cleaved her in the leg and ran off.
Should have cleaved her in the chest.
I should have, but I didn't want to be that...
I would have.
I didn't want to be that horrible, and I genuinely hope that her character survived.
I think they did. I don't think a lot of... There was only like 4 Dornish deaths.
But that was a very fun moment for me, because I'd never gotten that opportunity before. She was not happy.
And then I had... and then we went back after we both died. We respawned once. Moved into went to go and attack Dawn again, and Dawn started to kind of pinch in around the right, and I saw 5 heavily armored Dornish, and I went, well, I have 2 hit points, so if I'm gonna go down, I'm gonna at least annoy some of them. So I ran in and I paralyzed one, repelled another, and then I got taken out by another Dornish player who wasn't paying attention, twisted my knee and ankle, and I was fully OC injured and out for the rest of the fight.
Yeah. I was still fighting at this point. I saw you go off. Didn't know that you were injured at this point. But I said to myself, okay, I'll go until I die. And then I'll go and meet up with you. And from the looks of it, we weren't going to be respawning again.
And I will say, I know it was not their fault. It was just, it was carelessness and them not really looking when they were moving. But they just blundered straight into me, and I twisted and went down. And so if you are fighting, please be aware of everyone that's around you. And, don't move sideways unless you know the side is completely clear. Your peripheral vision does not count. Look both ways before crossing.
And if you feel like you've bumped into someone,
stop and check.
Stop, check, and apologise.
Yep, because they didn't. Thankfully, one of the Dornish people who killed me just picked me up and said, get out of the way because we're moving forward, and was genuinely, they said, thank you very much, monster, and helped me get to the back of their line so I could limp my way back to our respawn point. And sit and for the rest of the fight, because that was me completely out. Basically for the rest of the day.
Basically, the unfortunate thing about monstering on Sunday is, again, you're kind of done by 12:30. You change back into your kit by 1. You get some food, and you've got an hour and a half left of the game. Which is unfortunate. But at least that didn't happen on Saturday, and you weren't out for the rest of the weekend.
That would have been rubbish if I was not able to really do anything except limp around or sit in camp.
We didn't really do much on Sunday anyway. We had this Ephesus box that we went and traded for, and I have never been so bored in my life. It was in the Hall of Worlds, which was very warm because there wasn't much of a breeze flowing through, and it was just a lot of, you've given us this, we can offer you this. And
not much negotiating.
Not much
they
negotiating.
Wouldn't really budge, and I'm like, okay, well, that's not a good trade, but hey ho.
It was not really our circus. It was kind of our circus, but not really. So I ended up just going and sitting outside.
I saw a couple of people from Menhirs and had a chat with them.
And then you shattered one of their weapons.
I did. They looked at me funny, so I said, do you have a weapon? And they looked at me funny in an icy way. So I said, do you have a weapon? And they said yes, and showed it to me, and I shattered it. I said, never look at me funny again. And then we kind of limped over to Dawn. I said bye to one of our friends, and we kind of just went and sat down at the camp and closed out the day, and we left pretty much bang on 3.
Yeah. We did our usual strike camp before time in.
Yes.
So all we had to do was chuck our chairs in the car and we were gone.
Yep.
It was lovely.
And it was actually the latest we've ever stayed at an Empire event, because normally we are... There's not a lot to do by 1:30 onwards.
Yeah.
So we just kind of go.
Yeah.
And obviously the very last Empire event we did, we left on Saturday night because we saw the rain coming, and that was the event where everyone's cars got stuck and they had to be, people were on site until like 10 o'clock and potentially into the next day.
Ah, Dadford.
Yeah.
Ah, Dadford Road, we love you. So yeah, that was our Empire event.
Yeah.
I didn't have a terrible time.
No.
Like, it was fun. It was nice to see people that we hadn't seen before. It was fun to do the battles.
Yep.
It was just a very different
nice
change of
Steve
place.
and playing in a different nation with a different and a very different brief to, you know, both of our places at Menhirs. It was fine. I think that's the only way I can really describe it. Is it was fine.
It was fine. It was fun. It wasn't the most fun I've ever had, but it was fun in parts.
It's probably the most fun I've had at an Empire event.
Yeah, I think so.
There's only one other time at Empire where I've truly felt like I was having fun and involved in the game, and that was when we did the
Aurelie's Garden.
The Aurelie's Garden, which is a sinecure between Dawn and Navarre, and every year they have some kind of like event fight type thing, challenge over it, and we did like essentially Anvil-wide combat games between Navarre and Dawn. And we signed up for that, and that was a lot of fun. It was really interesting to do, and I was able to, and being able to just fight in Dawn randomly and then having issues and things. That was great, and that's the kind of.
But that was a player-led thing.
Yeah, again, it was a player-led thing. It's just not a lot of plot-led things.
Right, should we do our hot snots and forget-me-nots?
I think we should.
Yeah.
So, what do you want to go first, or shall I?
I think our answers for this are going to be quite similar. So why don't you go first, and then I'll tell you if mine's the same or not, and then we can talk about it.
I think they'll also be similar, because we were together the entire time.
We were together the entire time.
Yes, so my hot is the Saturday battle.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah. So in the last Empire, I did not do the big fighting at all, and it was very nice to do
a big fight.
Yeah, to do the big fight.
It's so different to anything we've done at Menhirs. I have done battles previously at Empire, but I'd done them as a healer.
Yeah.
And doing them as an archer is so much different.
And I think it was probably the most fun part of the event, because it was kind of like it was the most fun I'd had at Empire. Because the most fun I've had previously at an Empire event was the Aurelie's Garden Sinecure combat games that we did. That I kind of just pulled.
I kind of did. I wasn't fully involved.
No. Which was essentially, there is a sinecure, a herb garden between Navarre and Dawn, and every year they do some kind of challenge to see who wins it. And that year it was a combat games in Anvil. So you basically, over the course of the day, you were given a ribbon, and and if you saw someone else doing it with the ribbon, you'd fight them and take their ribbon from them. If you dropped them, obviously you made sure they were back up.
Yep. My favourite moment from that was we bumped into someone who had one in their night pouch, which is a magical pouch that only that person can access. We kind of threatened them, or at least I kind of threatened them, because we were a little ways away from the hospital, and inadvertently I threatened to drop them and drag them over to the hospital if they didn't give us their ribbon.
And they did. And then we had a few other people that were just like sat down, and we would just, like, a large group just stopped and went, ribbon, ribbon or death. And that was quite a fun encounter. And then to be in this big battle, also kind of seeing like everyone, the difference between what people had said previously about battles and how awful they can be and how scary. And
we kind of expected, or at least I think from your side, you kind of expected it to be a big line fight, because that is what most people talk about when they talk about the big fights at Empire.
Yeah.
And this wasn't. I think because this was one big field, and because we were fighting the Druge, who aren't really big line fighters.
Yeah. On Sunday it turned into line fighting.
Yeah. But on Saturday, it was it kind of felt like a lot of little mini skirmishy fights.
Yeah.
Which suited our play style a lot, and it was just really fun. Like I said, this is the most fun I've had in a fight at LARP.
Yep. You got to do archery.
And that was because I got to do archery, and it is the most fun I've had. Everything that I said prior complements, and you know, I just had a really good time.
Yeah.
That's all I can really say about it.
There's not much else to say. We just had fun.
Yeah, it was a good time.
That's what LARP's meant to be. It's fun. And if you're not having fun, don't go. Which is exactly why we stopped going to Empire LRP, because we stopped having fun. And then we found Menez and we started having fun again.
Yeah.
And we had fun at that battle and things like that. You know, obviously the last part of this podcast we'll be discussing if we're going to go back or not.
Yeah.
And that's when we'll put our final thoughts. But yeah, so that our hot is
was
the
the
Saturday
fight.
battle.
Yeah, the Saturday battle. Monstering was obviously a little bit less fun because you got hurt.
Yep.
Monstering is never. There are some people who like monstering more than they like fighting as their character. But generally, the fights that you fight as your little guy are a bit more immersive, a bit more fun, a bit more engaging than being a monster.
I had fun in the monstering until I got injured.
Yeah.
And thankfully, all the people around that, you know, once they saw that I was injured and when I got back to respawn, they were very caring and they were like, you know, are you all right? And I went, yeah, I'm fine. It's not the first time I've been injured in a fight. It's not going to be the last, I'm sure. People are too exuberant and having too much fun. And that's, I don't, as I said, I do not hold anything against that player for injuring me. It was not their malicious, it was not their intent.
No.
You know, if they'd come over and punched me in the face, then yeah, I might have had a problem. But that didn't happen with me. Yeah, okay. What's your not? Because then if you say you're not, and then I can say if it's my not or not.
My not genuinely has to be the Manticore tourney.
Yeah.
Purely because it was so disappointing.
It was.
It was meant to be this big fun thing. I really felt for all the Dornish players who wanted to have a good spectator sport and didn't. I didn't like the fact that we got moved back 100 times.
Yeah.
Because I was tired. I wanted to sit down and I had to get up and sit down probably about 6 or 7 times.
And after like the third time, you just like, I'm just going to stay standing there, fine, because they're going to move us back again. And they did.
They did, yeah.
Yeah, and I know that's because of safety issues and that, but there are other ways of doing safety issues, like halving the amount of fighters on the field to make it also a more interesting fight. Because, as I said, the Manticore had 30 people against 200. You know which side is going to win. If you want to make it an interesting story, you need to allow either change it, move it to the battlefield, allow the large amount of Black Knights that went and volunteered to fight with the Manticore, which we
heard a
happened.
lot of people wanted to fight on the side of the Manticore.
Yeah.
And also people wanted to see Dawn secede from the Empire for 2 hours.
Yeah, that was the consequence. If the Manticore had won, Dawn would have seceded from the Empire.
They would have temporarily been barbarians until something could have been put through Senate to bring them back in.
A large amount of, players would have wanted to enjoy the fact that the PvP system, suddenly some barbarians had invaded Anvil to root them out.
It was just disappointing. I was excited to watch it as someone who used to be Dornish, and it just wasn't a good time. And that's why it was my not. I also have a mini not in the fact that I felt like I couldn't go anywhere without smelling cigarette smoke.
Yeah.
The only person who ever asked if people around them were okay with cigarettes was that person.
It was a monster on Sunday morning.
Who was sitting down with you when you were injured in monstering.
Yep.
Asked around, I'm going to light a cigarette. Does anyone have an issue with that?
Which was very nice.
It was very nice of him.
And by that time, I was like, well, that's I'm asthmatic and I don't really fancy smelling it. So
I just hate the smell.
Yeah.
Like, it genuinely makes me feel sick. And one of the reasons I stopped having fun at Empire when we used to go is it was a very hot event.
Yeah.
I tried to sit in the bar in Dawn and I couldn't because the people at the table over just kept lighting up cigarettes. And I would genuinely felt worse in the shade than I did sitting out in the sun.
Which is part of the reason why when we said if we ever owned a business, it would be a non-smoking business.
Yeah.
And Roost and Respite is a non-smoking business.
Yeah, I need to make up a proper sign for that.
I'll get a wooden one painted up. for us.
Yeah.
My not is slightly different.
Okay.
Okay, my not is the fact that I didn't do any real autumn magic rituals.
Yeah.
I came in, thinking that and having some kind of planning all of these rituals and things like that, and trying to essentially help out the hall, kind of on request, and then didn't do anything. And then the one time when there was a ritual that the hall was going to do, and we'd been saying like, oh yeah, let's do it, quite a lot of times going, oh, let's do it, let's do it, let's do it. I can do it. We need to just get it done. Then when it came down to it, they'd got someone else to do it.
Who wasn't in the hall.
Who wasn't in the hall.
In
and
Wintermark.
that kind of took the wind out of my sails for the rest of Saturday night, and I kind of was like, okay, right. Honestly, I felt crap.
Yeah.
And just wanted to just go back. That was my I want to go back to the tent and not.
Yeah.
I'm done playing. I'd stopped having fun.
Yeah.
So that was my not. A fairly simple one. I made the plans for that, and so if I ever do return to Empire as the same character, I'm gonna probably drop all of Autumn because it wasn't needed, it wasn't used, and it's a little bit useless if I have it. And just go into the full battle mage thing and just be a nightmare on the field, take a load of extra hit points and just go and cause as much problems as possible.
I think that is quite indicative of how different the magic system at Empire is.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's a lot less accessible.
Yes.
You have to be in a coven with people in your nation. You can't be a cross-nation coven.
Yeah.
And to do the bigger stuff, you need to work alongside others.
Yeah.
And we didn't get around to setting up a coven for this event, and I think that did impact it. Because I didn't use my magic at all, aside from casting my night pouch spell.
And it would have been nice to, even if we weren't going to, I wasn't going to lead the ritual, we weren't going to lead the ritual, just to be able to come and see the ritual.
Yeah. We did get an offer from our friend in Dawn, who was very close with an Autumn Coven.
Yeah.
Who said if you want to come and learn from them and watch them, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah. But there wasn't much time really.
There wasn't enough time for that, and
So not the best experience of the magic system, but using the mage system, using magician and just throwing out shatters left, right, centre was the fun part in the battle. Yeah. My hot and not is magic.
Yeah.
All right, and forget me not.
My forget me not was just spending time with our friends.
Yeah.
Seeing friends that we haven't seen.
Going back and seeing friends that we haven't seen in 2 years, like face to face and in game, was lovely. Catching up with them, seeing our friends from Menhirs in different
and kind of
outfits.
Immediately dropping character to chat to them.
Yeah. Which was a thing that happened quite regularly. We would just start talking about the other LARP.
Yeah, and not always just that, just sort of chatting.
Yeah.
Because it's nice to see our friends.
Yeah.
So yeah, seeing friends that we haven't seen in a long time, seeing friends that we have seen but not at the system, and getting to LARP with Steve and his group was really nice.
Yeah, like we'd known Steve for 2 and a bit years now, because we met Steve essentially over Twitter, having a discussion about the reason we left Empire in the first place. And his both agreement and also, but his devil's advocate and kind of trying to explain things, and we accept it. We accept that it's not the game for everyone. But Menhirs is not the game for everyone.
No.
Curious Pastimes is not the game for everyone. Lorien Trust is not the game for everyone.
That's why there's so many different systems, because you will find one that feels like home.
Yeah.
And you are not expected to go to all of them.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah. So that's my forget me not as well. Definitely catching up with friends. Right, should we answer the big question?
I think it's time, yeah.
All right. The big question, of course, the question of all of this podcast is, are we going to go back to Empire?
I think it has to be a strong maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Because, yes, we had a good time in the fights. Yeah. Yes, we had a lovely time hanging out with our friends, role-playing with our friends, seeing people we haven't seen in a long time. Yes, it is an impressive game on the scale of things, going into a massive fight, going into essentially a small town of tents.
Yeah.
But it's also a lot of money to spend for the privilege of seeing friends, for the privilege of going shopping.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether I want to do that again soon.
Yeah.
It's certainly not our home.
No, I said that at, and was discussing this with some other players in Hammerstedt who were there. Haven is my home. Anvil, I feel like I'm a tourist.
Yeah. I'm not invested in the overall world.
No.
I'm not invested in the politics. I am here to have a good time.
Yeah.
I'm here to shoot some arrows and drink some mead, and I'm all out of arrows.
Yeah. And in terms of like my thoughts on the financial thing is, you're paying around £100 for one weekend event with your friends, plus food,
Yep.
plus travel,
Yep.
plus annual leave if you work weekends or anything like that. But obviously if you work weekdays, you're going to want to take off at minimum the Friday, potentially the Thursday, and for us the Monday when we're recording this podcast. I don't think £800 for 4 events or £700 for 4 events and 4 Empire events and 3 Menhirs is a viable option.
No, I certainly don't think I could do both systems. No. I don't think I'd want to do both systems.
But we may come back.
Yeah.
You know, I am looking to potentially come back on the September one, maybe. It's a strong maybe.
It's a strong maybe.
Yeah.
It's not a definite yes. It's not a definite no.
Yeah. It's absolutely not a definite no.
No.
Because we had a lot more fun this time around.
Absolutely. And I'm glad we went.
Yes.
Because I haven't had a terrible time, and I feel like a lot of my feelings on Empire after we left were quite negative, and now I feel a lot more neutral about it.
My feelings on Empire after we left were 100% negative.
Yeah.
I was adamant that I would never return.
Yeah, so was I. But I'm glad we went back, and I'm glad that we've spoken to people, and we've joined a different nation, and we've seen a different side of the game than we saw before. For me, it boils down to the fact that you are an NPC in someone else's game.
Yes.
And it's a lot of money to spend being someone else's NPC.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't feel like a character in Empire.
Yeah. I don't feel like a hero.
No.
And that is kind of the dream that they are selling you.
Yeah. Whereas at Menes, I feel like a hero, a bit of a hero. I feel like I feel like a person. I feel like this person, the Sweetsmith, exists in Hammerstedt between events. I feel like Alfred has just disappeared.
Yeah. Kai's gone back to the woods and will miraculously spawn in again when she's needed.
Yeah. But it's just, these are our opinions. Your other opinions may vary. And we know lots of people that love Empire and say they would never come to MF, or they're not fans of MF, or it's just not their kind of game.
For a lot of people, Anvil is their home.
Yep.
And I'm not going to sit here and shit on them for it.
Nope.
Because I can see being absolutely and utterly in love with Anvil if that is your place, if that is your people, if that is your happy place. It's just not for us.
Yep.
And that's okay.
Yep. We still had a good time.
Yeah.
Thank you very much to Steve for convincing us to return and, jumping us in and getting us as involved as we can be.
Thank you for the invite to come and join your hall. That was genuinely lovely.
Yep. And we will, I have no doubts we will be back at some point to Anvil. It might not be this year, it might be next year, but we will be back. Hopefully it won't be a 2.5 year wait like last time. Yeah. I think that's the long and the short of it, really.
Yeah.
Should we wrap up?
I think we should wrap up, yes.
Thank you very much, everyone, for watching through this, our first Empire recap event podcast. It's been lovely having you here.
Yeah, it's been genuinely lovely. Thank you for sticking with us through something a little bit different.
Yes, yeah. Our next one, we will be back. Well, potentially our next one. We don't know. We might record something in between. But our next one, we'll be back at Mena's Fate in July, in 4 weeks' time, in fact.
I'm so excited.
4 weeks
Get
today.
me back in that field.
4 weeks today, we're going to be recording the podcast. Yep.
So excited.
Get us back in the fields. Get us back fighting. Get the Sweetsmith back in. Get my hat back.
Oh, yeah. You did not do well without a hat.
I did not do well without a hat. I'm
Lots
incredibly
of sunburn.
sunburnt. But yes, thank you very much for watching. If you would like to leave us a like and subscribe, please do. The like button's somewhere around there. And the subscribe button's also somewhere down there. And leave us a comment. If you went to Empire, let us know if you went to Empire, what you did, if you had fun, if you're a different nation, if anything interesting happened to you, please do tell us. Or if you're coming to Menhirs, say, I'm coming to Menhirs, I'm playing this, come find us. Come and find us in the field, come chat to us, come play games with us, come and be silly little guys.
Silly little guys, it's the best way to be.
Yeah.
Right, well thank you very much for watching everyone. I've been Ella, otherwise known as Kai.
And I've been Stephen, but I'm also known as Alfred 2 Feet. See you later.
See you soon.